Well, Anfield ready for the return of the famous Liverpool support. We might not be breaking attendance records tonight, but the 2,000 lucky fans inside the stands will aim to cheer on the champions to victory against a Wolves side looking to build on their hard-fought victory over the Gunners. So it's a 90 minutes for both teams at Anfield this evening. It's Liverpool versus Wolverhampton Wanderers in the Premier League. Welcome to Matchday Live in association with Standard Chartered. Every team is built on good fullbacks, and we have two great Liverpool fullbacks alongside me tonight. On the right flank, Jason McAteer. As always, on the left, Stephen Warnock. The most important thing tonight, start with you, Jason, is the fans back in the ground. It's mega, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. You know, we've waited a long time for this, haven't we? And it's 2,000 fans, lucky fans, that get into the stadium tonight. You know, it's a stadium that holds, what is it, 55, 60,000. So there are quite a few who have missed out, but they'll be there, I'm sure, watching the TV and, you know, wishing us all the best. But them 2,000 lucky fans, yeah, they get the opportunity to watch a bit of football. It's movement, isn't it? Movement in the right direction, which is forward. So, yeah, made up. What
will it mean to the players?
I think you can see the reaction yesterday of the West Ham players, the Chelsea players, to play in front of the home fans. I think that's very important. You get a sense when you come out there is an atmosphere, whether it be 1,000, 2,000, 60,000, whatever you're playing in front of. The fans will create an atmosphere. I think what we heard at West Ham, probably more than Chelsea yesterday was, and Spurs this afternoon, is that it echoes around the ground, so it actually sounds like more. So they can create an atmosphere. You want all the fans to be vocal tonight. You want them to get behind the team, and hopefully it's a good little atmosphere.
It's going to be a little bit different, isn't it? We're told the supporters are supposed to wear the masks. I'm sure that not everybody will adhere to that. You've got to be a good 2 metres apart. And it's like Willy Wonka's golden ticket, isn't it? Getting into Anfield. Getting there at the best of times, especially if you're a foreigner or somebody from out of the parts. But you've got to come from the Liverpool City area. You've got all kinds of criteria. It's just unbelievable to get in there tonight. It's going to mean the world to the fans to welcome the champions. First supporters to see them with their own eyes.
Well, that's it, isn't it? You know, we missed out, sadly, you know, watching the lads lift the trophy. It was injustice, to be honest, you know, after waiting so many years to do it and the fans not being there to celebrate. But, you know, we will get that opportunity, I'm sure, when everyone's back in the stadium, which hopefully it won't be too long now. You know, obviously the test in the water. And like you say, there's plenty of criteria to adhere to, which, you know, will be very difficult, even 2,000 people. But, you know, they'll do their best. There'll be lots of stewards there. I'm sure the police will police it really well. And, you know, our fans, you know, they're the best in the world. They'll behave themselves and they'll do everything right, you know. And, yeah, it's just great having them back in, like Stephen said, to have a bit more of an atmosphere. It'll be interesting to see how the players do respond, because now the normal is playing in an empty stadium, isn't it? Now they've got to adjust again to vocal support. It'll be interesting to see what they do.
We've had that goal music as well. I hear that's going tonight. Yeah. So when Liverpool score goals.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, isn't it? I mean, we've had to adapt in so many ways, whether it's the media, the players and what have you. Now we want it to get back to a little bit more of what we're used to, the normality from sort of, what, 8 months ago, 9 months ago, when it was normal game. And I can't wait to hear the fans tonight. I think it's a great occasion. I do have to say I agree with Jason. I think the fans will be great tonight. I think they understand how fortunate they are to be in there. I'm the same whenever I go to a ground. I want to wear a mask. I want to make sure that I'm representing the company I'm working for. But they're representing Liverpool tonight. They're representing the city and the club as well.
Thanks, guys. Back to you two in a second. But let's head over now to Anfield and to Pete McDowell, who's covering everything at the ground this evening for LFC TV.
Hi Rob, welcome underneath this main stand. There's a reason why I'm bringing you here tonight, because look at this, the Scorecast specials. These are the betting odds. The last time fans were inside the ground against Atletico Madrid, not that I'm counting, but it was 266 days ago, and you think of how much has changed in the world since then. There was a real feeling that night, and obviously it's been a much debated night, hasn't it, as to whether fans should have been allowed in here against Atletico Madrid, but there was that anxiety about whether things were about to change. But all of a sudden tonight you walk into the ground, there's fans outside. We haven't seen that, of course, since Liverpool were made Premier League champions, and there feels like there's a consequence to tonight's game. And as good as Liverpool have been here in the Premier League since fans have not been allowed inside the ground, there feels sometimes like you're watching them train Tonight feels a little bit different. And of course, it's a game against Wolves that so many people are looking forward to too. Two teams that are trying to second guess each other because lots has changed in the last few months as well. Raul Jimenez in the short term, that will have been a very difficult week for Wolves players, worried about their mates. And of course, then they have to make that football decision, or Espirito Santo does, as to what he does next. And he contributed so many of the goals from last season and them finishing 7th. But how do they change their game plan? They've stuck fairly rigidly to that back three, the side that got them up into the Premier League, and now they've become a European force, of course. But they do share the goals around the pitch. And do they change their style a little bit now to try and accommodate that? Does Podence start? Does Silva start, the guy that they've spent so much money on? That's a decision that they will have come to over the past couple of days. And they also know, Wolves, that they've got Diogo Jota in there, who's made an unbelievably good start to life at Liverpool, 9 goals in 15 games, but he also knows the Wolves model inside out and how they make change to a plan B as well. So does Jota start tonight instead of Roberto Firmino, or do all 4 start? So 2 managers that are really trying to work out each other's plans. It's an intriguing match ahead tonight at 7:15. We'll have team use confirmed for you, of course, at 6:15, and it could become 65 games unbeaten for Liverpool here in the Premier League at Anfield too.
Well, let's hope that the Reds can keep that run going in front of supporters this evening. Just before we go back to the Ajax game, best comment you ever got from a fan as you're running down the touchline?
I never got any. I remember all the bad ones, don't remember the good ones. That lower centenary was a nightmare.
Season tickets, Jace, that can remember.
Mate,
we've have a competition for that, can't we?
We've said how good these fans are. Listen, I've played in front of that lower centenary, so has he.
Yeah.
They can be unforgiving.
Have I given you a lift?
Oh, he always gives you a lift.
Come on, lad.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's great, but the watershed's not for another couple of hours, is it? So have to be careful.
Right, first of all, let's have a look back at the Ajax game in midweek, and Liverpool unearthed a great goalkeeper. Irish goalkeeper whose name is very difficult to pronounce. I know how to pronounce it because my wife is from an Irish background, but when you've got an Irish legend in the studio...
Quiveen. Easy.
Quiveen.
Kelleher.
Brilliant.
What were you worried about? Of course, my Irish coming out there. Can you not tell the accent?
Your next child, won't it? Quiveen.
Quiveen. I can understand why you get it wrong.
That's the first... How do you spell it?
Quiveen?
Yeah.
Oh, I've got no chance.
Yeah, there we go.
No chance to spell it. And it begins with a C.
He's one heck of a keeper, isn't he?
Yeah. We spoke, at length about him after the Ajax game. We've got to take into account he is 22. He's not. I think people get a little bit taken away with the fact that he could be 18, 19. He's not. He's been around actually a while, and we've seen him, in cup games, FA Cup games, League Cup games. He has got quality. I think he plays like his persona. He's very calm, isn't he? He's very collected. He speaks really well. He's quite an unassuming character, and I think that bodes well when you're a keeper. He doesn't flap at things. He takes everything in his stride. That was a lovely moment for him, because he would have been nervous. You probably wouldn't have seen it, but because of, like I said, because of the way he comes across, but he would have been nervous. What an amazing night it was for him, and it worked out wonders for him because he made some magnificent saves as well. And the manager coming out at the end of the game, giving him a special hug, just made him feel special. Yeah, it was a great performance.
He went out there 6'3", didn't he? And he came back an 8 foot tall.
Yeah, I mean, the big thing for me was, can you do the simple things well? And he started off that way. And when I say that, it's the pass backs. How do you deal with them? When he wasn't comfortable, they went, and none of the players even turned and said anything to him. It wasn't until the second half Jordan Henderson turned to him and said, now you can play out. Yeah. And he did, and he was comfortable. But what I think we lost when Alisson played was the ability to start a counter-attack. He gave Liverpool that the other night. His throwouts, his distribution when he had the ball was excellent. And then when called upon to do what he's called upon to do, which is keep the ball out the back of the net, his shot stopping was excellent.
Yeah.
Quickie, because we don't have the team news yet. If you're the manager tonight, who would you put in goal?
What if everyone's fit?
Well,
it wouldn't be you.
Alisson's
Put it that way. I know you're a keeper. I wouldn't
we
pick
played
you.
Together. I saved you a few times.
Obviously, if Alisson's fit, he slots in there.
Alisson's
but obviously
not tonight, but
he's
he's got
not.
a choice between Adrian and
Quiveen.
Yeah.
He gets in on his
once
performance.
He's learned that name once, he's just going to repeat it.
Yeah, and I think you've got to be careful. It was a big call from the manager, and I think he's come out and said, like Stephen rightly said, his distribution is very good, and John Achterberg would have had a lot to say about who played and who didn't, and who's been doing what. I think the other thing as well is Quiveen plays 23s. He's happy to play. Adrian, when he's not in the team, he doesn't play a lot of football. Yeah. He doesn't play any. So I don't care what anyone says. You need to be playing. You need to be playing. It's very difficult to get into the team, play once or twice, and then go out the team for 10, 15 games, and then all of a sudden be called upon to, reach that kind of performance level. It doesn't really happen. Quivin is playing all the time, 23s. I would, after his performance the other night, I wouldn't have no qualms putting him in.
Right, you're not the manager. Jurgen Klopp is the manager. And earlier this week we caught up with him and we talked about the potential selections in the side tonight.
Trent and Naby will do the first steps in team training today. Whatever we can do with that depends to how it looks and stuff like this. There's a chance that Naby and Trent can be in a squad, I would say. If they can play, I don't know. If they're in a squad, then they can play, but if they can start or play 90 minutes, then I don't know. So, but I think there's a chance that they are in the squad, yes.
Also, it looks like you have an exceptional young goalkeeper. How do you think he would rise to the challenge if he starts against Wolves on Sunday?
He looked good, but he is a really calm person, and he will not. What is that? The English saying for that. So he will not be now flying the whole week. So he's a hard worker, and we will see, there's no doubt that he will deal with all the fuss around him pretty well. It was a big call to throw him in that game, but thank God it worked out. That's unfortunately not always the case. That doesn't make the players worse. It just is a wrong timing of the manager. So for him it was right. That's good, and now we will see how we carry on.
Very good game in prospect against Wolves. I think since they came up, they've finished 7th and 7th again. They're 7th at the moment. They've shown really great consistency since coming into the Premier League. And even though they've got injury problems, obviously Raul Jimenez we know about and things like that, they've done remarkably well, haven't they? And I know you're a big admirer of what they've done there.
I am, because it's just good. It's just good. And when you play them, they don't even play like the 7th of the league. They play like an absolutely top team. And they had now in the especially last year, they had the European League to deal with, and they did it exceptionally well, to be honest. Played there well, and then that's a really tough task, even after getting promoted only a year ago before that. So absolutely outstanding. Nunes doing an exceptional job. Top recruitment. Quite a few players from Portugal, it's clear, with all the people working there in the club, but top players, and but nothing bad to say about them. Now they changed systems slightly. I'm not sure if they will play against us like this. That makes it even more tricky, that you don't know exactly what they will do. They don't know exactly what we will do, which is good. So same situation, let's play the game.
Well, the downside has been that the squad has been so stretched with the number of injuries and the games that the lads are having to play. But the upside is that there have been players coming through. First of all, let's talk about Trent Alexander-Arnold. As a full-back expert, Stephen. I went to you first last time. I mean, they don't want to rush him back, but it'd be great to have him back in the team as well, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I think that's the key thing, not to rush him, because what you don't want to do is you don't want to lose him coming into this busy period now of Christmas time. I know everything's congested at the moment, but this is the time where leagues can be won and lost, stepping into the December period, the new year, and a player of his quality, you don't want to lose someone of that ability. So it's key that he's ready, he's fully fit, coming back in. If he's got any doubt, or if the physios have got any doubts about him, then you don't take that risk.
He'll want to play, won't he?
Trent. Of course he will. I mean, we're footballers, at the end of the day. That's what we want to do, especially with the fans getting back in. It's at Anfield. He doesn't very rarely gets injured, does he? So of course he'll want to play. But Stephen's exactly right. You've got to be managed. This season is, for the manager, poses a lot of different problems. We seen it when he took Salah off, didn't we, against Brighton? He threw his toys out of his pram. That situation's got to be managed. He didn't take him off because he's having a bad game. He took him off because he needs him, for games that are up and coming over this Christmas period where there's lots of games. Trent as well with injuries, he might tell you, I mean, we've done it, haven't we? Where we've said, listen, we're
I'm
100%
fit, boss,
fit, we're
I'm
fit.
yeah, I
And-
want to play. Yeah, yeah.
And that might
You've
be
got
the
to look in their
case.
eyes.
Yeah, that might be the case. But the manager's looking at you thinking, you know, let's just give him an extra bit of time. Let's not rush him back. Let's be 100% certain, because you don't want him then to get injured and miss the next 6 games, do you? So, and Nico Williams, you know, played ever so well against Ajax, and you know, you can trust him as well. So there's no rush for him. If he's 100% fit, the medical team is 100% fit, let him go.
The other possibility tonight, we haven't got the team news yet, but the other possibility is Naby Keita, who was having a really good run in the team, starting to establish himself, and then he's hit that bump in the road. And he's another one who wants to have a good run between now and Christmas, won't he?
He will. He's just had such a terrible time of injuries in his Liverpool career, and it's just, do you give him even longer, Naby Keita, to make sure that he's ready fully? Whether you even just shut him down, or not shut him down, but just leave him out until the new year and say, just build your fitness up, make sure that you come back 100% right, because it almost seems that he comes back for 3-4 games, then he gets another injury, 3-4 games, another injury, and it's just a period now where you think, well, do you need him back that quick? Seem to be coping okay in those positions, so you've seen the emergence of Curtis Jones off the back of it, which is, he's growing in stature game after game. So I don't think there's as much as of a rush with Naby Keita, because I think over the course of the season, he will break down again.
Quick word about Curtis Jones as well. I mean, he has come in and he's really hit the ground running, hasn't he?
He's a talent. He's a talented boy, yeah. Fine line between confidence and arrogance, isn't there?
I mean,
but
he seems to be tiptoeing along that line there beautifully, doesn't he?
Yeah, and I would say that's because of the plays in the dressing room. That's the likes of James Milner and Jordan Henderson who will take him aside and say, listen, you know, you're coming along nicely, let's not get carried away with ourselves. You know, and he's doing everything right. You know, there was question marks on, you know, some of his performances, his defensive work, the stuff you do without the ball. He's that kind of player where he's on the ball, he looks great. When he's in confidence, he scored a goal for the next 20 minutes. He looks brilliant. He's always wanted. He's popping it off. He looks a player. But when it's not going quite his way, or he drifts out the game, all of a sudden he's not doing the dirty stuff like tracking back or winning tackles or winning different things in the middle of the park. And I just think he's, the last couple of games, he's found that in his game. He's found that. I think, you know, the team's playing well. He's had Jordan Henderson alongside him as well, talking him through games. And I think he's found the dirty stuff. He's started to do it. And I think he's becoming the complete package now.
Right, we're getting close to game time. Quick prediction from you both?
It's a tough game. Really, really tough game. I think it's going to be a Liverpool win. I think 64, is it, if we go unbeaten?
Yeah.
64 today?
64.
Or is it 60? Have we won 64? 60 something, isn't it?
Yeah.
I'm going to go.
Who's counting?
I'm going to go Liverpool win.
And you got to go Liverpool win, I guess, have you?
Yeah, I'm going to give you a score though. I'm not going to be as boring as Jason. I'm going to go.
Jason's never boring.
I'm going to go 2-1, and I just think with the fans being in there, it'll help.
Yeah.
All right, we will see. That's all from us here in the studio. We return at 7 o'clock on LFC TV and LFC TV Go for an hour's build-up to Liverpool taking on Wolves. Plus, we'll have all of the live audio commentary with Steve Hunter describing the action from Anfield. See you then.